We have Dave Tsuyuki here. He's our resident home and audio video expert. And boy, oh boy, do you guys like that discussion or topic, because the amount of questions, Simon, that we get in, it's crazy. So we're going to try and get through as many as we can. So first and foremost, Dave, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. How you guys doing?
As always, good.
Okay, we're going to do rapid fire here. Are you ready?
Yeah, fire away.
I think this is the way we can try and get through as many as we can.
Let it rock.
All right, here we go. So again, we received a question from realestatetalkshow.ca. It's Stephen from Aurora. Loved your segment on indoor speakers. Wanted to know what products you would recommend for outdoors, like for around the pool or around the deck.
All right. Well, as you all know, we have tons of outdoor speakers. There's stuff that you can leave outside all year round. But we've in our business, we've gone away from that typical scenario where people have speakers mounted above those outdoor sconces outside your house. It looks brutal. So what a lot of people now are going towards, and we strongly suggest, are garden-shaped speakers. So rocks. We have ones that sort of resemble a mushroom-style speaker. We have our most popular one are these ones that look like your uplights that you put outside in your garden.
Oh wow, that's pretty
clever.
cool.
Yeah. And we're not only trying to conceal the speakers, but we're also trying to control sound. So, not everybody lives in a farm, okay? And, people live in Toronto or in where, like any sort of residential area where there's lots of backyards. And we try to get the audio down low for one, and also shooting in at whatever your sitting area is or your barbecue, but where your listening spot is.
So you don't really annoy your neighbors as much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We try to let it feels loud, it sounds loud, but it's actually, dB-wise, is not that loud. So it allows you to, crank it up, have a couple beers, but not be really blowing away your neighbors.
And the bass is not like cracking windows down the street kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, David, what about wired versus wireless?
So that there is nothing that's wireless because everything needs power in our stuff. So there's solutions like we've talked about in the past where we connect it to some sort of wireless controlled amplifier, but it's still a wired to something. In a lot of scenarios where we have a finished home and a customer has a pool and maybe a cabana, we'll wire wires to a cabana, put some garden speakers in, some whatever it's outside, and then run that amp from an application like an iPhone, an Android, whatever the app is. And then it feels like you have this wireless control, but everything's actually installed.
That's brilliant. Okay, ready for number 2?
Fire away.
All right, Laureen from Georgetown. My husband and I are renovating our living room and adding a gas fireplace. He wants a TV above the mantle. I think they're ugly. Any suggestions?
Yeah, well, you're the woman, so you tell me. But, truthfully, we get this every day, right? And, a lot of TVs these days, they are starting to look a lot nicer. With the LED stuff out there, the Sony stuff looks amazing. The Panasonic has some stuff coming down the pipe that just looks brilliant. But we do have a product that totally gets away from TV. You've heard about it in the past, and it's kind of out there, but there's actually the brand name Sura, S-U-R-A. They make unreal mirror TVs that just mount on and the TV is integrated with the mirror. The frames that go with this mirror look like stuff you'd buy in any sort of designer store. It's amazing. Like
a mirror frame.
A mirror frame. So
when the TV's off?
When the TV's off, it looks 100% mirror, and it looks stunning. It looks really, really clean. But then you get best of both worlds. You can make these great rooms look like a beautiful, planned out room, and then bam, it's media, right?
Because a lot of times too, guys, I mean, we have to admit that fireplace is your focal point, and it makes a lot of sense because you, again, position your seating around that.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's why we put the actual televisions above the mantle, because that makes the most amount of sense.
Yeah.
But this is a great solution.
Well, and the thing with the solution is, in the past, the solution's been just astronomical. Tens of thousands of dollars. So everybody's heard of them. It's been around. It's nothing new, but it's been way out of reach. And now it's in reach. Now
just like the first VCR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what does in reach mean now?
Okay, so truthfully, I get this question all the time. A good TV, like a really good TV with Samsung, Sony, Panasonic, any of the name brands, you're still in the $3,000 range. You can get some of these mirrors now for like $5,000. Okay. So you're paying a little bit more, but you have this beautiful, really elegant product.
But in this case, it's going to keep this wife happy.
And then you hit,
so
there
well
that's
worth
very,
the
very
$5,000.
Exactly. You just gave me another idea too, though, because we were talking earlier at lunch, and I said, look, can we use one of these TVs as a computer monitor? So here's another way. I mean, I've got a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and let's say the PC box is hidden in the furniture. So now here's a mirror that's really your computer that is stowed away. So for the work at home people, here's a mirror in the workspace, but it's really your computer. So it's just an interesting solution.
Well, and it kind of
might be overkill, but it's still pretty cool.
That's your way of basically saying you have to have one, I can tell.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Exactly.
All right, next one, ready? Ian from Dundas. Actually, this was a call-in one, so again, calling into 416-366-9090. He'd indicated that they put their AV equipment in a nice antique cabinet, and some of the pieces were getting so hot I was concerned it might be a fire hazard or damage some of the equipment. I can leave the doors open, but that defeats the purpose of the cabinet. Any other ideas on how to keep things cool, or do I need a special cabinet?
Obviously, stores like ourselves, we do have a full line of, media cabinets that actually look good. They don't look like the sort of geeky tech furniture. But, predominantly what we'll do is we'll take your existing cabinetry, or we work with a cabinet maker and have them integrate some sort of, or we'll integrate thermal management, meaning we'll put something in there, like a fan that's controlled by heat. And that allows you to take care of that heat issue. You got to know that all these Rogers boxes and everything, they heat up like tremendously, okay? The other one, Aaron, is that if obviously these fans are great. We sell lots of them, believe it or not. It's like an over-the-counter type product. Some guys will go home and chop a hole in their cabinet. But if you don't want to chop a hole and you actually have access to a cabinet maker or something like this, a very popular solution is to get your guy to put a screen on. They call it's
These are special screens of some sort?
No, the cabinet makers have like they call it the chicken mesh or whatever. Whatever matches the decor, but a screen just lets the equipment again breathe. Yeah, going back to that equipment, it needs to breathe. There is an optimal operating range where the equipment will last longer. And it needs to be in that. If it's outside of that, it's going to just destroy it.
Okay, good point.
But the big one is, a lot of people ask me about the doors open issue, and it drives me insane because there's a ton of affordable products, again, stuff within reach, that allows you to, one, keep those doors closed, control the stuff behind closed doors, and also amalgamate all those remotes. So you have like 3, 4, 5, 6 remotes sitting on your coffee table. Buy a universal remote. Logitech makes a great one that's very affordable. Program it up, it's RF, and now you're controlling the stuff behind.
Only if one of your guys comes to the house and programs that Logitech remote, because I've bought a few and they're in the drawer now because I couldn't figure out how to program them.
You know what?
I know I'm not the only guy out there like that.
And Simon, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I have mine and I've got to figure it out.
Yeah. You probably had yours programmed though. Come on, I know
did,
you. Yeah,
but at least I haven't broken it and I still can work it.
Yeah, getting things. You know what? Like anything, that's like if you buy cabinetry and get it installed, or like IKEA versus install or do it yourself. But it makes a big difference if one of our guys or a professional comes out and sets it up for you, because they know the ins and outs. They can make it done fast and they can make it work really, really well to your stuff.
We have Anthony from Barrie, and he says, I have a decent flat screen TV, but find myself on my laptop more and more because TV. Okay, he's certainly being blatant. Sucks nowadays. What products do you recommend to add to my existing TV for watching YouTube and surfing the web, etc.?
Well, it actually kind of touches on something that it's all about the streaming. Okay, so streaming is huge, and we may have talked about it in the past, right? But it kind of goes on to there's paid for services, so it's more like the word a la carte. And what happens with the streaming is you can either find, free content, which there's lots of websites where there's, free content, or there's, prepaid for content, sort of like Netflix, where you pay a monthly service and get all you want. And then there's pay as you go, which is more like the iTunes type content or some other. Sony has a great content. And there's a bunch of boxes that make this available. So there's the smart television, which is now, we said before, the TVs are getting really smart. So they'll have these services built in them, meaning you don't necessarily need cable TV. You can use the online and then stream content and watch movies, watch TV shows, etc. Or you can go to an outboard box. So if you have an older television, your TV's 2 years old, 10 years old, you get has an Apple TV. Sony has one called Google TV. And there's a few other name brands out there. The Sony one is very unique. It allows you to first of all, go and take advantage of all their online services. They have Sony Pictures is huge, so they have a ton of content at their fingertips. You can still use Netflix through them, but then where it really starts to accelerate past some of these other products is it has a Google browser built into it, which none of the smart TVs have Google browser. The remote is a keyboard, and you can hop in and Google away. So we were all addicted to Google. Pop in there and start doing whatever you want, surf the web. So it does go on to what we were talking about is a full-blown web browser, surf the web. We use it like a mini computer. The Apple one, if you're Apple-fied, I like to use the word, works really well because if you have an iPad or an iPhone, you can take advantage of some of their services like the AirPlay or the mirror image and whatnot. Now, Aaron, there's a few other products, and Simon, there's if you guys are gamers, which I'm personally not, but there's a lot of people in the world are gamers, and that's a big part of our industry. they are also great network viewers. So you can access stuff internally in your house and watch movies you may have recorded. But they also work with Netflix. They also work with other services, and they also let you download movies. Again, the PS3 has access to Sony's full movie library. You know, you obviously it's an a la carte product.
Right.
You pay or rent, but they have full access to their full, everything Sony. It's great.
So, Dave, thanks as always for coming into the studio and hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me. I love coming down.
Yeah, great to have you as always.